Welcome to Obsession Engineering. We're at Oulton Park for round 2 of BSB 2023. When we headed to round 1, we had relatively simple aspirations. We'd like to score points and have a complete motorbike. That's rather changed now that we've come here as championship leaders in National Superstock. So we know Franco, Bourne and our Fireblade can run right at the front of races. The only thing is, this place is going to be a little bit more work. As a rider, I've always loved coming here to Oulton Park because the circuit is so exciting, and the start-finish is just one of those examples. I was about to say the start-finish straight, but it's not straight. So you come out of the last corner, go down quite a steep dip, come up another dip that's got bumps on it as well as the elevation change, so the bike wants to wheelie, and then the speed of the bike pushes you out towards the pit wall, so you go over the start-finish line not even upright, and then there's a crest, so you get a wheelie, basically straight towards your braking marker, which again isn't straight, isn't flat, and has bumps in it before you go into your late apex, decreasing radius, heavily cambered first corner, and it's just all action. That is literally just the talking through 2 corners, and the rest of them are just as complicated. So we've got here elevation changes, bumps, quite a lot of bumps. We've got second gear chicanes, we've got 5th gear fast corners, and we've got banking, we've got campers. This circuit has everything. And that's why as a rider, it's so much fun because it's so exciting. As a mechanic trying to set a bike up, it's a little bit more work. But we know Franco's got the talent, so we've just got to give him the bike to match. Right, back in the garage, Pete is just doing a last nut and bolt check, basically rechecking some of the stuff I did yesterday, because it's better that 2 people check it than nobody checks it. Chris and Steve, who's out of shot, are just doing the last fuel bits. Right, Franco was here for the test a week and a half ago, but I couldn't make it, so him and Matt had to fly solo. But they did get some dry track time on the second day, and there was a few bits he wanted changing with the bike. Basically, because this place is the absolute polar opposite to Silverstone, the setup wasn't going to be the same. I changed the setup a little bit at the end of Silverstone so they had somewhere to start from, but he wants a bit more brake stability. And a lot of that is, Franco's really, really good on the brakes, and so if we can get the bike to stop exactly how he wants it, he can take some lap time there, and of course in the race, that's where you're going to do a lot of your passing. So interestingly, he wants brake stability. When we were testing in Spain, we found that with the front of the bike lower, as in more of the fork through the yoke, that actually worked better on the brake. You'd think it'd be the other way round, but we tested it, and that's the feedback we got. So we've gone with the front of the bike lower. We've also gone with the back of the bike softer because this place is bumpy, and when we looked on the data, it was too hard, and that sort of fitted with his feedback. So we've got a softer spring in the back, different fork height in the front, different fork springs compared to Silverstone, and we've taken the O-lines out and put the Pitubo back in. Now we tested them back to back in Spain, and they're not a lot of difference. But over the bumps here, especially because some of the braking areas have bumps, so when you're at the bottom of the stroke, there's also bumps. These have got a completely different setup with the air gaps and bits inside them, so these should work better right at the bottom of the stroke near the bump stop, which should give us more range earlier in the stroke for mid-corner stuff. Hopefully. There is only one way to find out, and it's go and try it. And in about an hour's time, it will be time to go and try it. We also have the first of our new sponsors on the bike, so that's excellent because we like it when people give us money. There is still space for big sponsor stickers, so if you would like a big sponsor sticker here, it can be made so. If you just message Matt, whose email address is in the description, and he'll find a wonderful way for you to join the team. So I was halfway through sorting out the tooling for pit lane, so we've got wheel changing stuff, some suspension adjusting stuff. Well, I say suspension adjusting stuff, joys of a Pitubo, everything's a Formula Allen key. And then we got a priority job because, well, sausage sandwiches are ready. So Claire is amused because we're talking about the sausage distraction, and apparently this is normally only a distraction to girls.
Well, no, I said it doesn't. No, I'm going to shut up.
We're just at Oulton Park, we're about to go out for FP1. The job is just really to sort of spot Franco, see what he's doing, the gear changes, and the reason the first spot we've come to is the first corner. From here we go down to Cascades. Really crucial to know what gearing everybody's using down here. So first thing I'm going to be doing is listening to the actual engines, see where everybody's changing gear, just see if we're about right with ours. Doesn't mean we have to follow anybody, but I just want to make sure that bike's sounding correct and he's not in the limiter too early or anything like that. So that's our first job, and then we're going to move further down the track. We're going to go down and watch down the Cascades, and then we can also get the chicane as well, and then maybe even Deer's Leap, because we've got half an hour session. So we've got to see, we've got a track map here as well. So this is the sort of bump we have, and when we go back to do the debrief, I'll write some notes down and write down what I've seen, and if it helps, it helps. If not, we've had a nice half hour out, haven't we? Yeah, that's it. We just moved down to Cascades now. Franco's third fastest on the timesheet at the moment, so we're just going to have a watch him now. Gearing looks good up there, so we're just watching here and watch his braking marker going into the chicane. Also, we're keeping an eye on Alex Olsen, who looks really quick. Talbot's quick. There's Franco coming through now. Yeah, not, in my view, that was a little bit airy, but anyway, he got round it, so that's all right. We'll just keep an eye on him, see where he's going. He now goes down into the shell corner, and we'll just wait for him to come back, pop over the top of the hill. We're checking a few lines out, but I've just noticed on the timesheet we've now gone fastest, which is, wow, 37.3, which is one hell of a lap round here. So we're just, yeah, we'll just keep fingers crossed that everything's good with the bike, but it looks good.
Right, post FP1, finished 7th. There was a red flag in the middle of the session, and some of the top boys put new rears in halfway through the session and basically had almost a time attack quali run. So that was worth a few tenths. There are quite a lot of flies today, so first time this year I think he's actually had to use a tear off.
Have you told them yet how you didn't put enough fuel in again?
Right.
Has that come over yet?
Yeah, I may have anticipated race distance, and because he was enjoying himself so much on this wonderfully handling motorcycle, he did more laps.
A fine mechanic like yourself would have had that figured out, to be honest.
Didn't put enough petrol in that. So it spluttered a bit, and then we lost sort of 2 laps at the end of the session. And
they were going to be the bankers, they were.
They were going to be the really fast laps. Yeah. So what you'd done is you'd banked 26 minutes worth of laps, and it was going to be that last.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Well, it bodes well for the race, because in the race, that's basically how much fuel we'll need, because we now know because of the laps.
Yeah.
And you can go fast at the end.
Yeah.
So this is it.
That was a good excuse, wasn't it?
See, we've styled our way out of that one. But realistically, I think we needed a good session like that. At one point we were leading, and we're up and down, like we're 0.6 of a second off. But that is pretty good, considering like it's the first proper session round here when everybody's actually trying. Settles back in, proves to people that Silverstone wasn't a fluke. Right, so after FP1 we've had our debrief, and we've made some people hang around and wait for us, including Mr. Whittam.
Yeah, hey, he's not world champ yet, man.
He's going all right, isn't he?
Going really well for me, and I'm going to tell him this. If there'd have been a Man of the Match award at Silverstone, he'd have won my Man of the Match. Brilliant. The way he clicked with the stocker has been a revelation. It doesn't always happen that way. It's a lot easier to step down in power than it is to step up at his age and his experience. So really impressed. It's early days in his career yet in terms of having that much power and a big bike and looking forward to Superbike. So I don't want to pile extra pressure on him, but it would appear that he's got quite a lot of talent. And in fact, Kyle Ryder's been telling me this for years about him. And he can spot him, can Kyle? And I take his word for it.
Yeah, that'll do. Right, no, I've changed the rear ride height. If we don't like it, if it's dry enough to test properly, if you don't like it, we can go back. If you do like it, we can go more, or we can play with the preload a little bit. Yeah, in pit lane, yeah. You've got less anti-wheelie, so the same level setting you had before is less, but the same setting. If you want the same setting, it's on number 3.
Well, I've got up to get it where it was before.
Yeah. And that's about it, really. We don't really have to save any tyre for quali.
And how much fuel have we got in?
Loads of petrol. All of the petrol, and some new brake pads.
Yeah, right.
So steady first lap also with the pads, and then
Do you want to be first out?
slightly fraught run up to FP2 because it's been raining and it's nearly stopped. And Franco loves riding his bike and wants to go and ride, and we like his enthusiasm. When it's half and half conditions, I have less enthusiasm for him to do it. So what we're going to do is go down. We're going to go and basically sit in pit lane, and in 10 minutes time, if it's wet, we'll put wets in it. If it's dry, we'll go out and do some dry running. And if it's intermediates, we're going to play thumbsy war and see who wins the argument. I reckon it's a fair match. There is currently not a lot going out on track, but quite a lot going on in pit lane because, as we can see down here, it's wet and in dry places, and what we've been told by a couple of people who have been out is like the last corner is basically dry because it's under the trees and sheltered. The first corner's damp. The shell oil section out the far end is proper wet, and so at the moment, whatever tyre you put in it is going to be wrong on some part of the circuit. So I'm all inclined for waiting. Unfortunately, Franco is very excitable because he wants to ride his bike, and I can't fault his enthusiasm.
Yeah, there's nothing to be gained, that's the thing.
No.
And if we hoop the bike, then we're in trouble. But you know, we'll hang on and see what happens.
Yeah.
But if we can get out on the slicks, I think that's the best option.
What can go wrong?
Well, you're just showing us how good the armour is in your leathers.
I don't want to write my suit off and get more for it when I plug it.
Right, so 7 minutes to go in the session and we binned it off. McGuinness went out, came back in, shook his head, and he said, out the back there's puddles. This half of the track's basically dry. He said, like, it's absolutely pointless. So he's come back. Slightly frustrating, but it is the right choice. Right, the bike is basically ready for qualifying tomorrow, but there is always stuff you can be doing, and I've been doing data-y things. So I've been in my data and I've been looking at the lander. So that's basically equivalent to your air fuel thing. That's the lander reading against throttle position and engine RPM, and then I can go in there and alter the actual fuel map in the Honda software. So I've been doing a bit of that, and we've been suggested some new settings for our quick shifter that should work a little bit better. So hopefully we will have some slightly faster gear shifting, which should be a little bit better if it slides and then it changes gear, and it shouldn't have as long to recover before it slides again, so it might be better for that. The Honda boys apparently like it, so we're going to try it. And other than that, we are basically ready to go tomorrow. It's Sunday morning, but being Oulton Park, nothing goes on track until after midday because the local church don't like it. But we're moving because we've got a photo shoot to go to. Oh, the problem of fame. So this is basically all of the Hondas in the paddock, or most of them anyway. So you've got the proper Hondas Superbikes, then their Superstockers, then Danny Kent at that end. I'm guessing they'll probably have Hector Barbara tucked in space here somewhere, and then we're down to the Stockers. So we've got us, Alex Olsen stuff there, Dan's stuff there, and then Craig Neve and the Tag Boys, and yeah, it's a couple of quid to the Honda.
Did you get that?
I didn't actually, I hadn't started. This would be great for your socials, Josh.
Yeah, if you tag me, that is. We know what you're like. You just,
Yeah, we won't bother now.
No, I didn't think you would.
No.
So,
Well, we've got John McGuinness tagged in, so you know.
oh, well, you don't need any more tags then, do you? He's got all the clicks you need. Your YouTube channel goes.
Right, talk us through your
Serious
new
now.
Hawk Racing Fireblade 2.5.
This is it, the Honda Fireblade. This is my second weekend on it. We're at Oulton Park, and the weather is. Can you bleep?
I can bleep.
Probably not far off from your lad's stocker really at the minute. We've got a standard swing arm, we have a standard frame, we have got adjustable head pivots, but I think we are running standard. And then obviously we've got the old trick gold stuff, front and rear. Apart from that, bit of a tank cover because I'm small and I fall over the tank. But yeah, apart from that, we're pretty much standard. Just trying to get a bit of a base setting for it and tick away each weekend and slowly catch that monkey. Obviously, it's a new bike to Hawk. Here with the Suzuki for 7 years, was it? 6 or 7 years. So it's a new bike. Obviously, it should theoretically be a bike. They both have 2 wheels. They both go around the track. They both do it very different ways, as you know yourself. So it's just getting that base setting so we know where we are with it. Like the Kawasaki last year, when it came to brands, I knew that bike because I'd rode it for 3 years. I knew, my limit with it, I knew where I was going. Whereas now it's just learning this, getting the team to learn it and slowly chip away at it. Nothing too drastic too soon, hopefully.
Is it faster than the Kawasaki?
It's definitely faster, but smoother, if you can figure that one out.
Yeah. The joys of more modern technology.
Exactly that. You would be correct.
Yeah. So all we've got to do is make it go around the corners as well.
That's all we've got to do, which sounds easy, but it's probably the hardest part.
Right,
Sorry to interrupt.
Sorry guys,
being instructed.
Thanks for having me.
Danny Kent, are you getting some tips?
I'm just wondering what they're trying to do, but I just realised they're learning how to ride a motorbike. Nowhere better than riding at Oulton.
I know. You'd kind of expect to give them a slightly bigger space to do it.
Yeah, especially if it's their first time, you definitely need a bit more space than that, don't you?
And there's no pressure that.
Yeah, in front of all of us.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Enjoying the Honda?
I am, mate. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Just seems everything in general just seems a little bit easier compared to the Suzuki. I still feel like we've got a lot more to find in the bike. It's new for me, it's new for the team as well. So, but no, so far so good. Really enjoying it.
Cool. Good luck.
Thank you.
So it is less than an hour before we start our qualifying, and it is piddling down outside. So we've put the wets in, and today's qualifying session is a little bit different because they're splitting it into Q1 and Q2, and because we were in the top 18 in practice, we go straight through to Q2. So we'll be going straight into Q2 for 15 minutes, which, if you stayed out for the whole session, is realistically 9 laps, and it's wet. And other than the couple of laps last week at the test, this is the first wet laps we've done this weekend. At the test, he complained that the bike was very fast, basically, and there wasn't a lot of grip, so I've made the throttle a little bit softer in the wet maps for him compared to Silverstone. But of course, you don't actually test this stuff until we roll out of pit lane, which is ideal. So it's going to be wet. It's definitely not going to dry enough. It might go inters, but it's not going to be full dry. So we're changing to a wetter setup, including slightly softer fork spring. Now I'm only changing one. Firstly because it's considerably quicker and it does the same job. So this side we go from a 10.5 to a 9.5, and that will give us a 10 average. And you can change just one, it's absolutely fine. Alright, fork cap doesn't have to be mega tight because the yoke clamp will hold it. Right, just need to put some settings back in it and we're job done.
Front 3 rows would be good because in the wet I don't think it's going to be the main top 6 or top 9 at the front. It's going to be a mix of a few regulars and a few wild cards. Yeah. So front 3 rows would be good, top 6 even better, but pole would be nice.
Yeah. It's proper raining out there. The nice thing is we know it is full wet, so no worry about tyre choice and stuff, and we put a wet setting in it for him. I've altered his wet maps a bit, so he should be okay, and he likes the wet. but the wet throws up some oddities. Right, other little wet weather prep bits. That visor's ever so slightly blue. It's meant to give a bit more clarity in the wet, and if I close that for him to annoy him, it's even got a rubber seal down there so you don't get the rain inside the visor. And you want to keep your head dry before you put your helmet on so that you don't steam up inside, basically.
I'm nervous, really nervous. I'm worried that the track's got worse since they've been out.
But it's almost stopped raining at the moment. It's back right down, so...
Yeah, hopefully it'll dry up for the end of the session.
Standard practice, Matt. He pushed to the front of the group.
He goes. Starts as he means to go on.
Get to the front.
Stay there.
Hopefully. Right, first one over the line. Right, I can see on the tracking that they're nearly here. Come on, Franco. Right, so far, P2 on a 154. It's a decent banker. While he's riding around and doing stuff, I've just got my suspension tools out in our newly modified trolley, so that's all I need to really make any adjustments that we can do in time in pit lane. The plan is not to come in because it's only a 15-minute session. Setup sheets are in there. There is more tooling and bits in there, but I don't think we're going to be needing the intermediates. They've just red flagged the session, and it is absolutely tipping down now. There is, on the sheet, Pete's just asking me, 8.5 minutes, so the session probably will restart. Currently we're fastest at 1 minute 50.
No, he fell.
Huh?
He fell coming in, but he's got back on.
Oh, Franco?
Yeah.
He's fallen off coming back on the in-lap. Yeah. The camera crew, the commentators have just told us he's fallen off on the way back in, which is a bit odd. Do you want to go and grab a scrutineer, see if we can get somebody?
Straighten the bars out.
Yeah, jump off, mate, jump off. All right.
You're right.
There we are.
First, P1 at the moment. Get the warmers on. He just wants the bar straightening. You okay?
Yeah.
What happened just on the way in?
To be honest, I looked at my gear and I put a bit too much. I took the piss a bit, really.
Right, okay. That's all right, as long as you're in one bit. I'm pleased we marked where these bars go. Yeah. Are we all right to carry on?
Yeah.
Yeah, just push the handlebar out of the way, so. That's straight, everything's tight, scrutineers are happy, mate. You're good to go. Happy? Yeah. I'll tell you what, as crashing your motorbike goes, that was all right. Somebody just got us right at the line.
Down to 8th, Dave.
Yeah, down to 8th. So, yeah, we're down to 8th. But we were down at 11th at one point, and to be fair, third row, having fallen off your motorbike and picked it back up, if you'd have said to us before Silverstone, P8, you'd be happy, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would.
So, yeah. Yeah, one of them.
We were P1.
We were, yeah.
Which is like disappointing.
Oh well. At least we've got a complete motorbike and a rider. Yeah. So post-qualifying Park Ferme, we'll be told to bugger off out of the way in a minute. They've already noise tested. Certain bikes will get dynoed, weighed. If anybody complains about anything, this is the time to do it. We've had a very quick little debrief. But frankly, for crashing a bike in the middle of a qualified session, we've got away with that. Right, Chris and Steve have done a sterling job of getting the bike looking considerably cleaner already, and the rest of us have been in the truck doing the debrief. And to be fair, there was more sort of, I suppose, positive than negative. But Franco is normally very confident in the wet, hence the confident start. And to be fair, finishing 8th when it's his first time quallying, like really pushing in the wet around here is pretty good. But there are a few areas we could improve, because he'd like a little bit more confidence in the front of the bike, and when he taps the throttle on the slower corners, it lights up really quickly and gets a bit unstable. Through the long corners, like somewhere like Cascades or Island or Druids, said the bike's much better, and sort of Cascades area you can get really nice long slides out of it. But that's giving me the idea that we're still a little bit hard. So in the corners with more load, the bike's working. but in the corners that are slower, so you get less load in it, it's probably too hard. But we need to look at the data first and then decide a direction to go in case it's wet tomorrow. So on the data, I'm just overlaying here the wet session versus a dry lap, and the white lines are the white lines are the dry lap, and this is front fork travel, and you can see obviously we're using a load more front fork travel in the dry than we were in the wet because you can brake harder, and this is the brake pressure. The purple one is the wet session, and we're pulling a maximum of 6.5 bar of brake pressure in the wet, but in the dry we're double that, just over 13 bar. And so when he says he's not got a lot of confidence to push on the front, that is fairly obvious by the brake pressures he's pulling. Now, we did soften the forks a bit before the session, but this is telling us basically we can go softer. There are also a few bits we're going to do to generate a little bit more rear grip, hopefully, but more with geometry than with spring rates. So that's that bit of it. Now I just need to have a look at some of the traction stuff and see if it's worth having a softer throttle in some of the gears. I don't want to go the way of putting traction control onto it. What I want to do is just be able to control it so he can get on the throttle easier by making the throttle a little bit softer maybe. So one of the nice things of not having a very busy day is we do occasionally actually get to go and watch some motorbike racing. So gone for a wander down to the last corner because it's mega down here to watch, and somebody's graffitied a van down here. I don't know who's done it, but yeah, covered it in bloody graffiti, scruffy buggers. I suppose while we're checking out some graffitied vans, we may as well watch some superbikes. So Monday morning, Pete's doing the last little touches, cleaning, lubing the chain. But that's not the first thing you've done this morning, is it, Pete?
No, Dave, it isn't. Well, like this morning, I got up and I've been having a shower every morning, but I'm not smelly. But I thought, it's the last day, I'll just run into the toilet and have a good wash, proper wash and all that. And then, anyway, I went into the disabled toilet because it was the only one that really I could get in. And I had a good wash and everything, and then I thought, I'll do a quick number 2, and then did a number 2, but it wasn't flush, Dave. I did it, and I waited, and then I did it again, and it still didn't go, and then I waited again, and it still didn't go. So it's like, oh man, I just had imagination of a bloke in a wheelchair waiting outside, and I thought, well, he's maybe desperate or what, and then anyway, I did. Sorry folks, I did a runner.
So the reason the bike isn't quite finished this morning yet is because yesterday we were trial fitting all the spare fairings and a different air scoop and a few other bits, so we were prepping in case of emergencies later. So it's always worth doing. So all we've really got to do now is put the fairing on the bike, put some petrol in it, and then wait for the weather in morning warm-up. It should be dry by the time we're out there. Hopefully, because I'd like to try some of my dry settings again. 2 races into the season and Aaron Sylvester has won, both of them in stock 600. What's changed for this year, Aaron?
Not a lot from last year, to be fair. A little bit of fitness, got a little bit fitter, and mentality more than anything. Just that winning mentality. You've got to have it to win, haven't you?
Bike's okay though? Bike's good?
Yeah, bike's good. Obviously rebuilt by yourself, so it's going well.
Cool.
Going well.
And what's the plan for the rest of the season? Keep winning?
Hopefully, yeah. Fingers crossed. Just stay up the sharp end, really.
After yesterday's minor excursion in practice, in qualifying, we have added some bits to our tool trays. So we have the usual rear wheel big socket. I'll just put that there with all the front wheels changing stuff. And then I have 27 spanner for shock adjusting. We have a spare clutch lever now and a spare brake lever in that side. We have the tools to change them, the tools for changing suspension settings, and there is also some gaffer tape, like pliers, snips, cable ties, and some spanners and bits in there. So, you know, any little excursion we have basically covered if something happens on a warm-up lap and he can get back on, and as long as we can get it re-scrutineered on the grid or whatever, this toolbox could save the day. And of course we've cleaned the bike with our lovely Motul stuff. Right, so just a couple of laps of morning warm-up. It is raining actually quite a lot, so it's wetter than expected. So a bit sketchy, and some people trying to be heroes, weren't they, Franco?
People trying to race on very sketchy conditions in a warm-up, which is a bit stupid. I've had it a few times with him where he's sort of, because I'm quicker than him, he tries to get back in front of me. A bit sketchy. It's annoying, to be honest, but just have to show him how to run the race.
Well, it's woken you up, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'm ready to go now.
So while me, Matt, Pete and Franco have been doing a debrief, the boys have not been slacking off. So they've been doing fuel out the bike, wheels out. Because the wets have been used, we're having new wets on, because if it does rain for the race, you've got to have brand new wets on. They will also be changing the slicks. We've got a set of brand new slicks on wheels already, but they've actually been in the warmers for FP2, qualifying and warm-up and not being used. So they've had 3 heat cycles, so I don't want to use them for the race because the compound will have changed slightly. So they'll be excellent for a free practice or a test day or something, but they're not getting used this day. So we'll have new tyres on those, so they've only had a single heat cycle. That is our tyre to roll to the grid on, because we always do this, roll to the grid on one tyre, then change it, because it's more accurate for your pressure setting, because we can get pressure checked on the grid, and your outlap can actually cool the tyre quite a bit. So we'll clean around the bike, we've done the fuel calculation for how much we need for the race, wheels and tyres are getting done, brakes will be cleaned, chain will be cleaned and lubed, all the nuts and bolts will be checked. It is all go after 2 laps of warm-up.
Basically, his front wheel over his back wheel, and just as I sat it up, boom, there, boom.
A block
you don't have to even be past them, do you?
No,
long if you're there. Even if they go off, I'm trying to go round the outside.
You can just run them out.
Yeah, you keep them going, can't you?
Yeah.
So like again, so that I think, Franco, if you think that's a good move, then make it happen.
There's a move.
There is a little flip-flop move now and then.
Or Halloran used to do that.
Yeah.
Definitely a move there, and obviously last corners.
Last corner, isn't it?
It's the run-off through it.
Yeah, yeah.
You've got to be nearly alongside him and just... Yeah. Because he hit the brakes and he was halfway, and then Aaron just closed him off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was that, then you've got the risk of if they are too late and took the front, it's like...
You know, there is a risk there, isn't there? More of a risk there. But if it's the last lap and you want to do move it, then do it.
P8 on the grid. So we've got a good grid still. What's the plan?
To win.
It's a solid plan?
In any way possible.
And what music are you got on the go?
That's can't tell anyone that actually.
Yeah.
This is the secret formula to win it.
It was Lighthouse Family last time, wasn't it?
I think, yeah, something like that,
yeah. So yeah, like that, but maybe slightly different. Cool, right, go back to music.
Storm.
So down on our grid spot in P8, here we go, onto the grid.
By staying on the grid.
Yeah, you can stay on the grid, Pete. Slick wheel change there. It's like we've practiced this thing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we've got that nailed, so we're all happy.
So I like to stand on the grid and envisage where I'm going to go.
Yeah. Dave, you know, you've been there. That's why we're a team, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've been there and done it, so it's good.
That's what I talk to the rider, really.
You should, yeah, talk to the rider. I'm just a mechanic.
But I'm not going to stick the camera in his face because he's already got one of those, and this is bigger than mine. Pete stayed with Franco on the grid till the 1 minute board, and then they clear the last person off. We have to pull the warmers off and leave at 3 minutes. So we're in pit lane, and it seems quieter than Silverstone, even though it's more packed. It's weird, isn't it, Claire?
It is a bit weird. It does feel really quiet.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yes. I don't like it.
No.
It should make some noise.
It's the calm before the storm, isn't it?
I think it's because the grid's so far back as well.
Yeah, there's noise now. Matt is organising the leads for the tyre warmers, making sure we've got a power supply. which conveniently is plugged into the Honda boys behind us because they're nice to us. So we've got everything set up here in case there's a red flag, so we can come in, get him straight on the warmers. If there's any incidents, we've got to be ready for anything. But hopefully, the only thing we'll be ready for is some celebrating. I'm going to watch with good company because Mrs. McGuinness is watching with me. What do we reckon?
Well, we're on the back of the row, on the back row. Look.
Oh,
there's
hello,
a teammate.
John.
That's a teammate. But we're not going to be dead last because someone's starting from pit lane, so we're all right, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly.
We're all go.
It's just bike time for a minute.
Bike time. We love a race. We love a race.
Right, race start. Good launch. Oulton sort of blocked him a little bit. Yeah. Good. Safe first corner. That's what we wanted. We're in the mix. It is. Right, we passed McConnell. I tell you what, John's looking racy first lap, isn't he?
No, he's doing all right for an old boy, isn't he?
Round the outside at Shell Oils. Right, so we're 5 laps into the 14 and we're currently lapping at 1:36.4, which is 0.7 quicker than we did in free practice 1, so it's a bit uncharted territory. And the bike looks, it moves around on the brake a bit. He's pitching the back wheel in there a bit. McConnell's McConnell tried to go underneath him and he took the front. I think Franco might have taken his front wheel off him, but it was a fair move. McConnell was trying. Franco had a bobble as well, but that doesn't get any closer than that.
Did Franco shut the doors?
He did, completely.
Fair enough.
I call that a fair move. Yeah, he wasn't through. Oh, underneath Oulton. Nice, leaving him up. We talked about, into Shell Oils, we talked about that exact move in his briefing. That was pucker, that. Brilliant this is. Scary, but brilliant. Oulton's just had a go at Seeley into the last corner and taken them both down into the gravel. So we're now leading. Oh, and they're having an actual scrap. It's a long time since I've seen that on the telly. Right, mobile races are normally politically correct nowadays. Seeley was swinging. You can understand why, but yeah, right. Right, it puts us in the lead. I'd quite like to see on the telly because they're still showing that bit. We're beginning to struggle through the chicanes, and there's 3 laps to go. But now the group is now a group of 3, and we're in it. Oh, Franco. Oh, there's bobbled. It's bobbled. No, we're good. Can he get a drive? Not quite. 3rd. That'll do. That'll do. That is a solid ride, that is. That was mega. All right, we'll take that. Right, and breathe. Bloody good, that. Bloody good. That is solid.
Got arm pump.
I thought the last lap or two you were looking.
Couldn't pull the brake. I couldn't get my finger. I tried to use 2, but I can't get it back round the throttle.
That's all right.
Cheers off. All right,
tough track here.
Yeah.
I've got last 3 laps. Arm pump is couldn't pull the brake, but
good result.
I haven't come down yet. I don't know what to say about that race. That was one of the most exciting. I've watched a lot of races in my time, but that was one of the most exciting races I've ever watched.
I think I did as many miles in pit lane as he did on the track then. I didn't stand still.
You wore out the cameraman.
He was knackered. No, he rode mega then. Some of that defending against a mega experience didn't lose his head. He was safe, solid, firm, but safe.
Yeah, exactly. That was fairly close racing because that'll be part of Billy McConnell's front tyre.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good. I wanted that first win. Obviously, Franco had one at Silverstone, so I wanted to have a go.
Good man, good man.
Thanks.
That's the 3rd place rider to Franco Bourne on the back of that winner. 2nd place at Silverstone last time out. That's another one there. Richard Kerr, 2 good places at Silverstone. On the teaser for Original Married H and AMD. With optimal bikes, the race winner, Franco.
Right, scrutineering checks done. Today we were weighed, which was no stress at all because I'd weighed the bike yesterday with no fuel in it, so I knew we were safe on weight. And then it was a throttle body check. Basically it gives them a chance to look inside the airbox and measure the throttle bodies and make sure you're not boring anything out and doing anything silly. And now we're back at the awning. So it's time to chill for a few minutes and then start packing up. But the main priority right now is lemon drizzle cake. So that's the end of another successful weekend for the Marvel HCL Motorsports team and that little legend, Franco Bourne. There was quite a few people who after Silverstone said, it's just a blip, he can't do it at Oulton Park. Well, this is the polar opposite circuit and he's on the podium again because he's quite good. So we've had a great weekend. I hope you've enjoyed watching and join us again next time for some more motorbike fun.